Okay. Should be good, chat. Everybody's not back in court. We are ready, locked and loaded. Let's go. What was that? Like a 9-minute intro? It wasn't even really an intro. Welcome, my people. Kick, I see y'all in the building. Rumble, I see y'all in the building. Everybody on the King Academics channel, I see you guys in the building. Of course, I see the Academy channel loading up now. I see you guys getting up in here, man. Appreciate you guys. I know we're starting pretty early today. Pretty early. Did the Academy channel go live? Okay, we're finally live. Good. All right, chat. We're back in court early. I was gonna get on, I was actually ready to get on at 8:30 or 8:45, whatever I scheduled for, but I was watching the updates to make sure court was happening as normal, and it looks like day 2 of Cassie's testimony is gonna go down. Again, we're gonna do a slight recap, but let's get immediately into it. All right, we're not gonna do any BSing. So, first and foremost, I'll give my own recap really quickly, but shout out to my man, Inner City Press, who is doing our live tweeting. He did do a short vlog while he was on the way to court, and this was the vlog he did walking to court. Okay, it's a rainy day in New York City, really rainy. I ordered some shit from Home Depot. That shit is sitting outside, man, getting rained on, man. I streamed so much yesterday, I couldn't even bring it into the garage or nothing. So it was like, fuck. I feel like I'm wasting money. Anyway, all good. If you're just tuning in, I don't know if you're at work or you're just kicking it, we're going to probably have another long stream today. We will play it by ear how long we go. I don't know if we'll make it to 10 hours, but shit, I think we'll at least make it to 6. Court goes from usually around 8:30, or in this case around 9 to about 5 o'clock. So you'll have me probably for about 7 to 8 hours at minimum. All right. So chat, let's get into it. This is the guy who's tweeting everything, and he's talking about the current day of trial. Here we go.
Okay, here we are. Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse today, Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. Well, Diddy docket, civil and criminal, of course. Yet we're live tweeting the criminal trial of Sean Combs. Yesterday, they finished with the male dancer Daniel Phillip, and then Cassie took the stand. It was really, it was something. You can find, of course, the tweets. We've also put extra stuff on Substack and some of the filings on Patreon. But the legal issue that's arising is whether when she's under cross-examination, which will begin today, whether she'll be allowed to talk to her lawyer, who's Douglas Wigdor, a noted Me Too and other, mostly a civil lawyer. He had a case with Leon Block in which he dropped out, but that's another matter. In any event, both he and the lawyer for Mia are wanting to say that they have every right to speak with their client during cross. Now, often it's said that a witness can't speak to the lawyer during cross.
Mia is a personal assistant. Chat, I've always told y'all, and y'all used to this stream already. I cut people off a lot. 2 things to add on to what he's saying. So first and foremost, Cassie and her lawyer, and Cassie wants to make sure she could talk to her lawyer. She want to consult with her lawyer, and I have to believe they want to make sure obviously she has to have received some type of immunity to prosecution. We're probably going to hear about that later on when it gets to cross, but she probably doesn't want to open herself up to any civil liability as well, right? So keep in mind, she got this supposed settlement, might have been 10, 20, $30 million from Diddy, and she's testifying against him. Again, she's allowed to break the NDA to cooperate in a criminal trial, but there are probably a lot of nuances and carve-outs in there that if she's asked under oath, hey, what was your intention, A, B, C, and D? If she lied during the process of signing this NDA to get this money, it could be something where Diddy has some claims, again, not in a criminal way, but in a civil way, because, I gave you money, now you're snitching on me. Again, not saying that's wrong, but if she was playing both sides, I'm pretty sure they may have asked, hey, listen, have you cooperated with law enforcement? I think that's a fair ask if we about to give you some money to settle, right? Okay, so no book, no that. You haven't talked to law enforcement. Let's say Cassie was talking to law enforcement. That might, kind of violate one of the terms of the settlement. So, again, not saying that Diddy's trying to go get his money back or whatever, but shit, you never know. Her civil lawyer is in there. Also, think about maybe criminal exposure she might have. Even though I do think she has immunity, I think it might open up some other claims because you have to remember there's a way to look at this that Cassie is a co-conspirator and it's Cassie and Diddy who is trafficking people. Cassie booked everything. Cassie's name and her payments is on everything, and that probably holds some significant issues, and they anticipate that Diddy's team is going to hit her really hard and probably hit her with some things that she knows she can't lie upon that stand. By the way, Diddy's team has also said this, chat. Diddy's team has made an announcement to say, we plan to bring her husband on the stand. And they said as a impeachment witness. So what does that mean? They're trying to have Cassie perjure herself unless she tells what they believe is the truth. And they feel like she might try to wiggle out of a couple questions. And if she does that, they're going to try to show that she lied. And at that point, even with some protection, immunity does not protect you from perjury. So Cassie does have some legal exposure, not only criminally, but maybe even on a civil level. So I see why she has an attorney there, but she wants to make sure she could say, hey, can I have a second or I have 5 minutes? Can I go speak to my lawyer? Because they're going to come at her with everything, right? Second of all, remember I keep telling you, the people who knows all your secrets, your driver, because you're in the back of the car, you're talking to this, you're talking to side bitch, you're talking to your shooters, you're talking business, so they know how much money you got, they know everything, right? Because you're talking and they're usually somebody that's driving, but they're listening clearly, right? Your personal assistants, they up in your accounts, they have seen shit that maybe only you should see. Drivers, personal assistants, and your bitch. Those are the people that be knowing all your secrets. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, just wanted to add that as he continues.
In order to not coordinate, but By
the way, good morning to everybody. I know we haven't done crazy intros. Please, as we're doing this, everybody check in real quick. Where are you from? Where you repping? What you doing? Where you at for work? And just let me know what y'all doing right now in life as we're all connecting on this stream.
Government and they are citing the Victims' Rights Act. Of course, Alexander Shapiro for Combs said that can't trump the rights of the defendant to get to the truth, i.e., mess up the testifying witness. So there's that. On the civil Diddy docket, in one of the many cases initially brought by Tony Busby, he's withdrawn from them, has another lawyer on the case. It was a Jane Doe versus...
Interesting. So Tony Busby looked like he's withdrawn from a bunch of the cases filed in SDNY, which is the Southern District of New York, which is the same court, but the criminal side that's Diddy's going through this RICO case. And looked like, at least what Matthew Russell is saying, is that he's withdrawn from them. There was a couple of issues that came up with Tony Busby. Not only did he have incredibly bad press after he tried to do the Jay-Z thing, it was also realized that he did not follow court rules properly. So when you are a attorney that doesn't practice in a district or a precinct, or in this particular setting in a it would be district because it's governed by this district or this circuit actually too. This district court, which is SDNY, which is a court for Manhattan and a few other places within New York City. He practiced in Houston. You have to usually do what's called a motion to pro hac vice. It's a Latin word, which means one time and one time only. I'm a licensed attorney that could practice in Houston or in Texas, and I'm going to appear in a New York case on a one time only basis, even though I know I'm not licensed to practice in the state of New York. Sometimes, and per the rules in some places, you have to hire a local counsel because they don't want to have to teach you basic shit about just certain general, procedural rules that a local counsel would know. That happens more on state court, but you do have to file these things when you're not a practicing attorney within that thing. Tony Busby supposedly didn't, which I'm kind of surprised because he has a bunch of people on his staff, and the court was giving him hell for it and looked like they rejected him, and he didn't do the necessary steps to get back on, probably because of all the other stuff. So we haven't seen Tony Busby at this trial. He's been rather quiet. He claims to represent all these victims, but we don't even see him Tyrone Blackburn is there trying to, probably piggyback off the moment and some of the things that's heard in court. Tony Busby, ever since the Jay-Z L, right, he's kind of been in the winds. And now we're hearing he's kind of substituting other lawyers on the case for the cases that he initially announced and filed. So shit's going to get interesting with Tony Buzz.
Of course, the Sean Combs case, in which, involving, I think, 2014 in Las Vegas. In any case, it's been found and ruled by Judge Broderick here of the Southern District that Jane Doe cannot proceed under pseudonym and must either give her name by May 20th in an amended complaint or see the case dismissed on that ground. So there's a lot of this is how it's going. We're covering it closely. It seems to be going out all over the place, including Perry Match. Not that it matters. We've asked, believe it or not, to go international. We've asked the UN about it because they often are talking about, I think they put on orange shirts. They do all of this stuff. Of course, the UN itself is
okay. He's always talking about the UN because what happens is that there's some UN court stuff, and apparently they always ban press, and he's always filing these motions to try to get press access. So he's been fighting it, especially in the Southern District of New York Court, for a very long time to make sure that the press, and by the way, for all the press that's in there for the Diddy trial, I think he's slightly partially to be thanked for his diligence in fighting for journalists' right to be able to see and be a part of every trial. And this is probably one of the reasons I think that even when it comes to the Diddy case with the freak off videos, the judge didn't outright say, let's get everybody out to court. We only need a jury to see it. They realize that the press has the right to witness some of this stuff. And yeah, he's been constantly in that court with back and forth motions. I follow him. He does a lot there. All right. I think he's going to talk about that for the rest of the time.
Deeply involved, but has no comment on either this case or Gérard Depardieu.
Yeah.
Now,
he covers many different cases. Okay, cool. So I see Megan Cunniff underneath here. She says, thank you for your work. Could you let us know which one of Diddy's lawyers is doing the objecting during Cassie's direct? Yeah, he stopped basically naming the lawyer that was objecting. We know Donaldson was objecting during Phillips, direct, but we don't know who's objecting now. I do believe that they have started. So let's go and find a thread of how this is. Here we go. All right. So Cassie's still on direct. After direct is going to be cross. Cross means the defense goes. So they started 27 minutes ago. It says, all rise. We have a note from a juror about a scheduling accommodation. And then they say it's not in the docket. Then they ask, what about, Mrs. Ventura, so Cassie's husband, Alex Fine. The AUSA says he'll be removed from the courtroom. Remember the whole thing, which they agreed on yesterday. Anytime they're going to talk about anything post-2018, when Diddy hired him to train her, and he ended up, I guess, sleeping with Cassie, and Cassie ended up leaving the relationship with Diddy to be with him, he can't be in the courtroom for that, right? Because he's going to hear her answers, and then he's just going to say the same answers, right? They want to see if they could catch her in a lie. So obviously, by the way, they announced this yesterday, so I'm pretty sure Cassie and her husband probably yesterday prepped with their civil attorney to make sure they're on the same page about shit and same thing or whatever, because obviously they live together, they're husband and wife. Also, here's the thing too. This is another reason I would imagine Alex Fine, they got the $30 million now, supposedly $30 million in the settlement from Diddy. I would imagine that they have a criminal lawyer that's there for Alex Fine. So here's the thing too. You got to remember, even though they're going to be trying to use Alex Fine as a impeachment witness, they also can't force Alex Fine to, again, even though Cassie's not charged, there is something that is a law that if you are married to someone, you can't necessarily, the government can't compel you to testify against your spouse. So I'm pretty sure there's a criminal attorney that's going to be in there if they see that's going to be with Alex Fine. Probably even Cassie as well. That's going to make sure that it's no way possible that there is a perjury situation that could possibly either put Mr. Fine, with Alex Fine, which is the husband, in legal trouble or Cassie in legal trouble, right? So that's going to be interesting. So they've agreed that he's going to be removed from the courtroom before a certain issue comes up. Cool. The judge says, has the privacy screens been installed? And it looks like they're talking about maybe the privacy screens, and today might be the day we start seeing videos. Well, not us because we're not in court, but this is the free call videos time, huh? It says they're being installed with the court tech staff. And the judge says, on confirmed with counsel issue, I tend to agree with Ms. Shapiro. AUSA says, what about conferring with questions about privilege? Now, here's the thing. So the judge is saying, I agree with Ms. Shapiro. Remember, that's the appellate lawyer, right? That's the appellate lawyer that is rocking with Diddy. But they're bringing up some issues that, it's better to solve the problem before it happens than have to go fix it later in appeals. So, or appellate court. They're saying that the judge is saying they agree with Diddy's lawyer, saying Cassie should not be allowed to speak with her lawyer during cross-examination, right? And it's because if well, I don't know the full thing about that, so let me not assume. We'll probably get a little bit more on it. Anyway, Combs, so Alexander Shapiro says, I'm concerned that during the break, there could be generalized discussion about testimony and might come up. We're going to try to avoid any privileged communications. AUSA says, during Mr. Phillips' testimony, I spoke with his lawyer, okay? And the AUSA says, we anticipate these witnesses being on cross-examination for multiple days. We need them to speak with them about security and transportation. The judge says, Ms. Shapiro, can you draft up something on paper, an instruction that you would want me to give? So it looked like the judge is agreeing with Diddy's lawyer. Basically, they're going to bar Cassie from getting spoon-fed these like almost legal responses. Because, say you ask her a question and say, hey, at any time, did you ever prevent one of these strippers or whatever from leaving, or prevent Sean from leaving her? Things could get a little hairy when they ask her questions and she got to answer truthfully. So she might be like, hey, could I talk to my attorney to see like how she could either get around the question or how she should technically answer it, or ask their attorney like, hey, if I admit this shit, do I have protection for it? Diddy's lawyers don't want her to be able to do that, right? Cool, let's keep going. The AUSA says the defense has sent us a zip file of the text messages. We're reviewing them before raising it, okay? So it looked like there are going to be some text messages. Look like maybe it could be text messages where Diddy's confronting Cassie about like, yo, wait, you fucking the trainer or whatever. Before, I think that's what they're talking about when they're going to introduce Alex Fine. And when they do that, they want that nigga out the courtroom. The judge says, I appreciate it. So the defense looked like they've shared a little bit of their strategy with the AUSA. Now, I have to believe the AUSA actually believes that they're going to get a chance at Cassie today, because you don't want to give did I say AUSA? Diddy's team think they're going to get a chance at crossing Cassie. So the cross-examination on Cassie. So they're going to get to interrogate her on the stand. That's why they're sharing this, to say, hey, listen, we're going to show you our hand, because when we say get that nigga out the courtroom, you'll know why. I got to think they're expecting or planning to talk to Cassie today instead of tomorrow. And I don't know, we didn't get a timeline on how far ahead the AUSA is in their direct on Cassie. So when are they going to end? I would imagine she's going to be on the stand until at least lunch. Will it be until the end of the day? We don't know. So the defense already sent a zip file of text messages that they would want to bring up. The judge says, I appreciate that. Comey says, the defense still hasn't shown us the exhibits they might use in a cross-examination. We're worried this will continue. And then Combs' lawyer jumps in and says, we are making several chains of text messages. They had these documents in their possessions for 8 months before we got them. Okay? And essentially, they're saying, what we're giving to you is our strategy, not evidence. You guys had the evidence. You had it for 8 months. So you should have prepared for the entire trial. We're just trying to earmark our strategy that when we want someone out to court or whatever, it gets done in an orderly fashion as per the judge rules. But the prosecutor was just saying, yo, they just turned this over to us. It's like, no, y'all had them before. That's what they were trying to say. they've had these documents in 8 months. The judge says, well, we're here. We're told there's half a day of direct left. Okay, so we get to find out. So it looks like they're planning to get Cassie done with direct by noon or by lunch, okay? So could you give them at lunch? The defense says our paralegal has printed them out. Comey says, man, they should have printed these exhibits out to us on April 27th. Garrett goes, oh, you guys can't see it. I'm sorry, Ted. I'm sorry. Let's we gotta get right today. By the way, it's an early morning. It's not even 10 o'clock, so good morning to all y'all. So it says, our paralegal is printing them out. Comey says, well, y'all should have turned these exhibits on April 27th. The judge jumps in and says, well, Miss Garagos, talking to Tenny, we did have a schedule. As you marked them, why shouldn't you be required to turn them over? Agnifilio answers, Rule 16 does not contemplate these carve-outs. We're not behind on the 8 ball on this. We have compiled with Rule 16. I would be surprised if the government only has another 3 hours with Ms. Ventura, but whatever. Agnifilio says, we don't think it's required, but we'll do it. Luckily, we have a sizable defense team, so we can do it. The judge says, Ms. Comey, what do you want? Says, we want their exhibits, not a trial by ambush. I want them now. I will find the cases. So, again, they're both arguing something a little bit different. It's clear that Diddy's team is arguing, yo, this is not evidence. You guys had evidence. You guys had them 8 months ago. This is our strategy. But the prosecutor is saying, well, your strategy also involves other asks you're trying to get over. For example, our witness can't talk to their lawyer or can't talk to us during whatever time they're going to be on cross. Remember, if a witness talks to a prosecutor while they're on the stand, that's kind of unethical. You know what I'm saying? Especially even say Cassie's on the stand for 3 days in cross. Supposedly Cassie ain't supposed to talk to the prosecutor. Okay? So they're trying to get these carve-outs to make sure it's like rules. It's like, yo, let's establish the rules before we play the game. Okay. And Comey's saying they want these exhibits because they don't want a trial by ambush. Usually you see the defense say that when they feel like the prosecutor is trying to introduce something late. But whatever, cool. Judge Submaranian says, well, you don't have to put it in a letter. You can just email me the cases and I'll take a look at them. So I guess these exhibits are probably other cases or, I don't know if it's case law necessarily, but other cases where I don't know what it could be. So Inner City Press would ask, are these judicial documents going into the public document? How much is being left off the docket in this case? Okay. So again, Cassie just entered. It says witness entering. The judge says we have a witness waiting in the back. Produce them before cross-examination starts. You can email me the cases during the trial day. Keep in mind, Diddy got 9 lawyers in court and probably a bunch of paralegals working remotely and around the court area. So they're printing some stuff out. They probably have a lot of stuff electronically. They're like, we need it printed out. The judge is even saying, email them to me. They're going to email it to the judge's clerk or someone else. Cool. Here we go. It said, produce them before the cross-examination starts. You can email me during the cases during the day. Let's get moving. Let's get Miss Ventura back. Now the witness is entering. That's Cassie Ventura, if you don't know. The judge then says, all rise. All the jurors then enter. It says, you are still under oath. Proceed. AUSA Johnson says, may I proceed? May I approach the witness? The judge says, you may. Then Johnson says, Ms. Ventura, I handed you 2 drives. What is on them? GX8. I'm guessing that's like just a no mature. Oh my God, I'm fucking up on words today. Jesus Christ. It's a coffee chat. I'm early. Am I fucking up on that word? I am. Ventura says, message and photos from my device. Okay, so it looked like they pulled, which this seems to be normal. By the way, keep in mind, Cassie said she turned over laptops and phones. So Cassie has been very complicit in this entire investigation. She turned over her device, her phones, and her laptops. Apparently her laptops had some videos, but definitely text messages from phones and some photos. So they're using that. Obviously, the government did seize a bunch of Diddy's device. They found that there was stuff on Diddy devices too. What was on what, we don't know yet. We'll probably figure it out here. So they're about to go over one of the device, which is messages and photos that came from Cassie's device. Okay? Cool. Chat, we, as per usual, this entire trial is being tweeted. It's not being aired publicly where we could watch or listen. I wish it could, but we can't. So what would happen is that we're waiting for these tweets. They're probably usually about 2 to 3 minutes apart. And while we do that, we're usually trying to is that yeah. Oh shit. My boy Aiden just called me and said read my chat. I thought I was muted. Aiden, what are you doing up at 9 o'clock, my boy? He says, read your chat. What do he post on Kick? Oh, somebody says, Aiden, what? Oh, shit. Oh, my boy Aiden making it rain. Oh, shit. Nah, yo, Aiden trying to take me shopping like Diddy. Yo, chat. My boy Aiden Ross. Yo, chat, is this flirting at this point? Is this flirting, chat? Tell me why Aiden Ross just gifted me a shit ton of subs. He gifted me 50 subs. Thank you, Aiden, for the 50 subs. You heard what 50 Cent said. He said Diddy offered him to go shopping, and he was like, yo, this shit is gay. I felt like you just threw 51s on me. I'm not going to call it gay, though. I appreciate you, okay? I appreciate you. By the way, Aiden, whenever we do get on the phone to talk, or we get on Discord to talk, remember you were playing gay. I want to ask you about some shit that is gay. The Diddy rubbing the semen on his nipples. I got to ask a white person about that, a Caucasian. I'm going to be honest with you. I got to see what y'all think about it. I'm Jamaican, so y'all know where I'm going to come from with my thoughts on it. Gay. Okay, I need to know what the white boys think about it. Then I want to know what the gay people think about this. By the way, waiting for new tweets. Hold up.
Ask me. Go ahead, bro.
Bruv, yo, you trying to take me shopping, bro?
Yeah, when you get to Miami, we're going to Ball Harbor. I'm taking you shopping. Act, you deserve it. You worked so hard. You worked so hard.
Yo, I did a 10-hour stream yesterday, but hold on. I don't like this tone.
I know you work hard. I want to get you subs and take you shopping. You deserve it, daddy.
Nah. We ain't not doing. Hey, what do you think about yesterday was the craziest trial they ever covered?
Brack, it was like World War III yesterday for me. It was so insane. I called Charleston White off stream for like an hour. I couldn't believe it. Yo, Ack, it was the craziest shit, bro. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what to do. I'm like going through it. I'm like, fuck. These people want to see me die. Yo, yeah, Ack, you know what?
Yo, you're going through the Dochi thing. Yeah.
Well, Ack, you know what made me so reassured?
Yeah,
they were on Twitter saying they wanted to kill me and they wanted me to see me get killed on stream. But they were like Akademiks too. So I was like, my bro going out with me.
Yo, you know what's so funny? Anytime they find a new person to hate, they'll make a list and be like, yo, why are these people still alive? And like, they just throw my name in there. They're like, yo, how come no one has killed this guy? And I'm like, damn. Yo, but you make it through. The TDE guys were a little bit upset at you, bro.
They were?
Yeah. Yo, yesterday, let me tell you this. I love Twitter, but it's so pretentious, right?
Yo, I have a question. Is Twitter worse than the Shade Room now?
Yes, because Twitter are these soapbox warriors and these extra woke motherfuckers that don't understand nuance or don't understand anything that has any emotion on it. So, like, your comments on Deutsche, all they see is white man attacking black woman. Why
does nobody talk about that? I also came out of Mexican too. But that's my thing. Yeah, right. You're gonna say like, did you? I did. But nobody talks about that. And now they want to say, oh, it's a girl thing. Aiden's only coming at girls. I come at everybody. I don't care.
Yo,
bro, it's crazy. I just stand up for what I believe in, bro. And I don't like that shit, bro. But I'm not gonna fold. I'm happy. I just think the energy needs to just be conceded, meaning we gotta just choose where we put our energy at.
Yeah. One thing I've realized, and like I addressed the video you did, and I was like, yo, listen, one thing with Twitter, they're so good at soapboxing and using these terms like misogyny and this is what happens when you let somebody into the cult. They start saying so many things that are just not true. And they try to make it like these bigger issues. Why do men keep attacking women, right? The actual substance of the conversation was that you've seen a rich, famous celebrity barking at their hourly employees that are probably paid like minimal wage, and it looked like it was a mean-spirited thing, and people generally don't like that. If you saw Jeff Bezos shouting at the person packaged in a box at the Amazon...
It's just bitch, bro. They think, and when I say bitch, it's racist. I call everyone a bitch.
Hey, I went through this when listen, certain people, you know what's so funny? Certain people are so protected you can't say bitch about them. I'm telling you. I learned this. Yo, I used to call everybody a bitch. And then one time I called Chrissy Teigen a bitch, and she was the queen of like woke Twitter at the time before she... Yo, bro, I had to make public apologies, bro. Like this, yo, they were on me so bad. And I'm telling you, Deutschie's one of those protected ones, and this is why I said the problem with it is that she's so protected they won't allow real conversation to happen. Because what you mentioned about the industry plan thing, bro, that's such a loud consensus.
But am I wrong?
No, I agree with you. But they're gonna dismiss that to say, well, you're racist and sexist because you said bitch.
Yeah, it's crazy. They don't even care about the industry plan part.
See, some people say, oh, he called her unintelligent. I mean, like, listen.
She is.
I mean, I don't know about that one. I don't know her personally to see if she's smart or not.
What do you mean? Ack, what are you saying right now you don't know about that one? Bro,
No.
And
I judge her off what I see.
Intelligent. Ack, I've seen how you treat 9-to-5 workers. I've really kicked it with you.
Yeah.
You're intelligent because you know how to.
Oh, okay. You mean it like that? Okay, you mean it like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how to act. You know how to speak to regular, hardworking people. You tip well. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it. Like, I've seen academics order a crazy. You order like the whole half the menu and you tip them good. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's like, I've seen how you deal with 9-to-5 people. I just think that people take me, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit autistic and I take it, I'm on the spectrum. So when I speak, it may come off like, oh, this is a racist white boy. But in reality, though, if you get on the phone with me, I'll explain what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, again, and this is what I was saying, there's certain people so protected. Shoot, I seen yes, Jules jumping. I was like, I thought you guys were
Yeah,
cool.
but we hopped on the phone, me and Jules. I fuck with Jules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but do you see how the internet just came for you though? It's like, even if they were upset at you using the word and they're like, that felt a little hateful, like they just dismiss your entire point. Like they act like you are the person who were harassing your staff. They act like you were the person being an asshole. They just completely switched it. You know what I mean? So you became the villain. And that's one thing about public discourse, especially when it's kind of like on Twitter. The only way for you to not be the bad guy, you have to talk within these constraints. You can't use certain words.
I get it. I have to be very carefully with my words.
Very careful. And honestly, even now, like I've even started to realize, I'm like, obviously sometimes like there's a chick who says something about me and I'm like, man, fuck this bitch. But like if I want to have a legitimate conversation, you have to talk to like certain women like they're little children. Like you have to be like, come here, Johnny. Okay, don't do like you have to be so. And while if you were talking about a rapper, like a male, you could kind of be more like, man, this motherfucker's a junkie. Yo, this guy must be off some shit. And I've heard you when people been tweaking and been coming at you and you respond in like. No one ever says, yo, why is Aiden saying that? They're like, okay, but I get it. Like, Twitter is just too woke, bro. I don't know, bro. I've been waiting for it to change, bro.
It won't change. It's forever fucked. I thought, with the, I don't even fucking know. One thing I will say is this. I mean, I see your chat saying it. I think there's a big difference. I think the word racism and prejudice had lost its meaning, right? That's one thing I do know. Charleston brought this up to me on the plane. We were on a plane together for an hour. We were sitting. He was like, yo, nephew, you understand that the world thrives off hate and negativity and people lose the meaning behind words. Like Charleston really articulates it very well. That's one thing about Charleston Act why I want you guys to do way more shit. Because, bro, the way he speaks, he literally, like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. So, like, if he can make me understand it, and I'm a pretty stupid motherfucker. I'll keep it a buck with you. You know I am. I'm pretty stupid when it comes to words and education and shit. But when Charleston White speaks, bro, he literally, like I get it. So y'all need to do more shit, bro. Like that should be a pod. You and Chung, like fuck.
No, of course, and we will. Hey, check this out. And this is when I realized. You see on Twitter, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve about Twitter. You're right. Words have lost their meaning. Put it like this, right? And we could just even stay in the streaming world, or we could go outside of it. Okay? They hear a song, they think the song is catchy. They're now really tweeting and accusing someone of being a pedophile. Like, that's the worst thing you could ever say. They see one little thing. Oh, okay, look at this person, and there's like an insinuation. They'll put a label on you, or they'll start using these terms, racist. And I think all these are terms that get people to back up off someone. Like, oh, whoa, I don't want to be next to the person that's being accused of that.
What Charleston White told me is, like, for example, you can't be racist towards a white person, right? Like, because, like, racism comes with power and control. He was explaining to me that racism back in the day, when there was actual, you know, what was going on back in the day when it came to slavery and shit, that was racism. He says now, if somebody on Twitter says, I don't like Aiden Ross because he's white, that's being prejudiced. There's a very big difference. And I didn't understand the meaning behind the words too. But that's why somebody like Charleston is perfect for the youth, because he knows exactly how to articulate his words. Like, I didn't understand the difference either, but now I get it. So, like, you can't really be racist towards a white person. You really can't. You can be prejudiced towards a white person, but you can't be racist towards a white person, because racism is backed by power and was backed by, ideology, all that shit. So, but one thing I will say is this, the last thing I do want to say before, I mean, I watch your streams all the time. You, Cuffham, and Solo Minati are my top three. But I want to keep it
crazy.
Yeah, you got to tap in with Cuffham, man. He fuck with you too, you know.
Salute to him.
Yeah, I'm high as a bitch right now. No, I'm kidding.
How are you up?
No,
okay, I'm like, not to bring it in and making some joke shit, but what was the longest freak off you've had? Because we know you've had some freak off. Yo, Cassie said 4 days.
Bro, I've never done that weird ass shit. Yo,
it's 10 o'clock. It's clear you haven't slept. Shit, I had to force myself. Y'all drank so much coffee yesterday on stream. I had to like try to force myself to get some sleep to get up for today. What's the longest freak off? Cassie said the longest was 4 days, and I imagine her not being able to sleep for 4 days. What was your longest freak off?
What the fuck is a freak off? What is a freak off?
Bro, a freak off, you got to get the Glade candles. You got to get the baby oil. The butt plugs are mandatory. You get what I'm saying? Butt plugs.
Bro, what are you shit? How do you know what a freak off is?
You're not watching the details of the trial. They're describing it. Diddy had butt plugs. Yo, you never heard the story about Diddy getting the butt plugs, and then later he was in a room with Ja Rule?
I heard he liked being called Papa. Is that true?
Pop. Yeah. That's a little weird. Having a woman call you the endearing term for her grandfather is super weird. That is super weird.
Yeah. No, I'm going to let you get back to it. You know, you describing this Diddy case perfectly. Keep doing you, bro. I think it's 10 a.m. Pop a bottle of Hennessy.
Hey, by the way,
get to it.
Did you see me running up on gambling yesterday on Kick Steak?
I didn't. Yo, but I do have a little... Yo, you gonna love this shit. Just listen, bro. Listen. I have a DoorDash method. I can get you credits, bro. It's crazy.
For real? Because I be using my real money.
No, I got you. I can get you credits.
Wait, you're not talking about scamming. Come on, right?
No. I can get you.
Because some of my niggas... Yo, I'm so scared of going to jail, bro. I can't even scam with DoorDash, bro. I just be paying them niggas. You want some credits? I got you. Yo, bro, don't get me up in a DoorDash Rico, dog. Like, that would be crazy, dog. Like, imagine me showed up to court and every day of court, they just put mad food in front of me, just like, yo, and I'm cuffed up. Nah, the DoorDash Rico will hit different, bro. Nah, I need some credits.
Damn, your whole chat saying put me on, man. Hey, chat, we gonna give away.
Wait, do you really got some credits?
I'm gonna give your chat away some DoorDash codes.
Are you serious or you trolling me?
No, I'm dead, bro. I got credits, bro.
Wait, you fuck with DoorDash?
Nah, I'm trying to work out a deal, but you know what's crazy? Oh my God, I'm so mad at. My PR was finally getting better. I had 2 deals lined up. Same with Diddy. I was talking to him. Lost both my deals. On God.
Yo, they fucked up DDG's shit yesterday, didn't they?
Yes, bro. They fucked up my shit, his shit. Like I had an ad deal too. I was gonna do, bro. I'm mad as fuck. I was like, fuck. Like, it's not even about the money. It's just because, like, I want to do it. Because it's like, damn, it was a big ad. It was a big deal. So it's like, fuck. But wait, all good, man.
I know you're not going to say what it is, but I also seen Ray from AMP. He said he lost his Adidas. Yo, could you really be yourself?
Ray lost his Adidas deal because he commented you're under your age and called him a monkey. But, use monkey emojis. Because your age put, like, Chinese shit under the comments, and he replied with, like, monkeys. That's, like, why. So, like Adidas and them, they don't play that shit. Like, Rage lost his deal originally because of that whole clip, the Kevin clip, right? But But yeah,
Really?
bro. I mean, that's just the way it is, bro. That's the reality of how the world works. I mean, you know how it is, bro.
Yo, I
So
think
it is
Kai
what.
is the only streamer clean enough to like really be aligned with brands. Like I know your brand is called brand risk, but like I think being a streamer is being a brand risk.
I don't even know, man. It's so hard to act. I was doing so good, bro, and it's just so hard, bro. The good news is I could collab, but yeah. I mean, look, man. You get to your shit, Ack.
Yo, I'm
I'll
gonna be
send
on
you
for a
this.
long time. You streaming today?
Yeah, but I got my press conference shit.
Okay. Oh shit. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about that. I might tune into that too because I'm gonna be later on. We'll probably run some kick only shit. So yeah,
Cool, bro. Maybe I drop some credits in the chat too. Ah,
bro. Send me some credits personally. I need some lunch, nigga. Yo, yesterday I only ate a small fry, bro. I feel like I'm on a diet.
yeah. And you want Ozempic
Chat,
then? Because guess what? You're not
hold
gonna.
on, chat. Tell him 10 hours of streaming. Y'all seen me drink like 3 cups of coffee and I ate 1 small fry. Now I did order.
Ack,
I ordered
come on,
Applebee's
bro.
afterwards. Yeah, but I only
Ack,
on stream 10 hours only a small fry. I promise you,
Ack, that's because you're on Ozempic. Ozempic, you lose your appetite. So that's all.
bro.
No,
Bro, I can't afford
you're
it.
on Oz.
If you pay for it, I'll
Ack,
take it.
Ack, can you just please? I'm gonna send you some DoorDash credits so you can order food. Okay?
I bet that's what I'm talking about. See, yo, you always gotta have a good old white boy in your corner. That's my nigga.
There you
Aiden.
go.
My
Hey,
nigga
oh,
Aiden.
Ack,
What?
last thing.
What?
I do want to say, man. You know, who runs the DJ Academics TV page on X?
Grand runs that and
Oh, that is my dog. I love Gran, but yeah, man, it's really unfortunate what I'm seeing, man. It's a bloodbath. Look, bro, it's World War III. Ack, you're the savior. You're the GOAT. We love you, Ack. You're the greatest. Ack, you made kick great again. So all love to you, bro. You got to tap in with Cuffham though. But yeah, Ack, all love.
All right, brother. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit. All right, and good luck
All right.
on the press conference.
Thank you, sweetie pie. Mwah.
Whoa, pause. No Diddy. All right, bro. All right, it's my boy Aiden, man. One thing about Aiden, he gonna help you get to that bag though. All right, cool. Chat. We bought enough time. I know we got some tweets, so we'll get to it. So I apologize for the little sidestep there, but we're good. Okay, great. So remember, and right before I start reading the Cassie tweets, I just want to give you guys a recap in case you're just tuning in. Yesterday was pretty much ended on a bombshell about the intricate details of the freak off. Cassie getting pee in her mouth until she choked. Cassie, basically, Diddy instructing Cassie to have sex with these sex workers until they ejaculated. He would make sure they ejaculated. They would ejaculate in her or on her. Then Diddy and Cassie would go to a secret room, or not secret room, but go in the next room. And she said she would scoop the semen off of her and rub it on his nipples. Or I'm guessing if he came inside of her, she would scoop it out and then rub it on Diddy. Which also, again, this is me ad-libbing here. It feels like this was done purposely to be outside of the not only earshot but the eyesight of the male prostitute, that they didn't see that Diddy was doing these things. So for them, they might be like, Diddy's kinky, but they didn't ever think that Diddy wanted pieces or parts or shit, man milk. You know what I mean? Like Diddy wanted some baby batter. You get what I'm saying? Also, we also find out that Diddy either was trying to fight or they got in what they call an altercation. It seemed like it was verbal with one of the sex workers while he was putting in that pipe on Cassie. Apparently, he looked at Diddy and Diddy got mad. Now, some people feel like that was, and again, he's not on trial for if he's homosexual or not. But if you're mad, the sex worker looks at you, but then after the sex worker comes in or on your girl, you and her go to a secret room to rub the sex worker's semen all over you. Yeah, there's a problem. Or not a problem, but that seems like something might be up. So let's get into it now. So what else bombshell was dropped yesterday? Cassie also admitted that Diddy did ask her if she did not want to do the freak offs anymore. She said by him asking her that, it's like he knew she didn't want to do it no more. But she felt like if she didn't do it, he would do it with another woman. She also said that she felt like she wanted to just make him happy and wanted to be around him, right? And also there's times that she would text him like, hey, I want to fuck. And it's making a picture that, yeah, we might see evidence from the defense that Cassie we're getting proof. Cassie did initiate some of these freak-offs. But she said she wasn't doing it because she wanted to do the freak-offs. She felt that was the only way to be around him or to make him happy. So she's taking, hey, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm a full victim, right? When there was the email message about Diddy asking her, you don't want to do the freak-offs anymore, she essentially said to Diddy, what did she say to him? She was just like, she backpedaled. So she didn't double down or say, no, I don't want to do it. So it doesn't look like she vehemently said, Sean, I don't want to keep doing this where you're having all these random men have sex with me. By the way, Diddy would insist, even though supposedly condoms were one of the things she describes as accessories for the freak-offs and Astroglide and also baby oil. She said Diddy insisted that the male not use a condom on Cassie, right? I'm still confused why the condoms were even there then. If I'm guessing Diddy wasn't using a condom and they're not using a condom, why is there condoms? The Astroglide was used as lubricant, and the baby oil was used to he wanted the bodies of both people, Cassie and the sex worker, to be glistening. Supposedly at one point they went through, over a few day session of a freak-off, they went through several bottles of baby oil. And frequently Diddy would stop the sexual act and say, that's not enough baby oil. We need more. Douse yourself in baby oil. Also, at times, apparently Diddy would say, if they were running short on baby oil, he'd make a call to the staff for the staff to go get baby oil, or the bell service people downstairs. By the way, keep in mind, the majority of these things happen in hotels, right? It also happened at his home and also her apartment at times, but looked like those happened at his home and at apartments when they were using regular or repeat sex workers. The way they did it with the sex workers is not everyone was sex workers. Some of them were strippers, and they would kind of like just bring them out, kind of see if they would, is this person going to shut the fuck up? And if we paid them extra, apparently the first time when I think they were either, I don't think it was Intercontinental, one of the sex workers testified, the Phillip guy, he said Diddy was in a robe, bandana here, baseball hat on, trying to conceal his identity. Cassie was in stockings, red wig, had on lipstick, and a masquerade mask. They were trying to hide their identity. The person said they realized it was Diddy and Cassie when they heard the voice of Diddy, who Diddy was in the cuck chair just beating the shit, telling him what to do and how to do it. He had came there to initially dance for like a few $100s. However, Diddy then propositioned him the idea with having sex with her. Cassie, of course, is a very attractive woman. The person kind of realizes Diddy and was just like, shit, fuck it. This same person later says that they were unable to perform at times, and the range of money they got paid were between $800 to $6,000. Also, one time they said Diddy got them drunk or high off of, I forgot what the drug was. No, it was ecstasy. They said they got so high that Diddy paid them Cassie paid several $1,000s in cash. They went to Times Square, handed out all the money because they were so high. It felt so euphoric. They say it made them feel sick. They say at times, Cassie testified at times that the drugs that Diddy gave would make her want to vomit. Also, she admitted that part of the drug package that they would frequently take, cocaine, MDMA, GHB, which some people call Rufinol, which some people would identify as the date rape drug. So it looked like Cassie was saying she would willingly take this drug, or maybe not willingly, but she knew this drug was being administered. I usually hear that drug is supposed to be you sneak it in type shit. Pause. Again, I'm recapping here, chat. I'm recapping. What else? No knowledge yet of Cassie testifying that Diddy used to low key put that type of GHB, because I guess it's a liquid, put it in people's liquor to drug them. However, it does match up with a lot of the civil cases that accuse Diddy of using GHB to drug people. Again, we didn't get a firm testimony based on what we saw that Cassie said Diddy drugged me without me knowing. And again, the idea of drugging someone is that they didn't know or they didn't agree to take this, right? What came out in later cases, I know Little Rod case about pink cocaine and stuff like that, we haven't heard too much about necessarily that yet, but we're working on a time period from 2006, and I got to imagine up to 2015 at this point, so the first half of their relationship. Cassie also testified that they started doing the freak off a year in, between 6 months to a year in. Diddy propositioned her to say, hey, listen, Cassie, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't want you to judge me. Pinky promised me, don't judge me. And basically tells her that he's into this voyeuristic thing where he likes to watch his woman get fucked. She said she didn't want to do it, but she felt like she was a bit pressured to do it because of Diddy coming clean to her and opening up. And by the way, what she's consistently said during her testimony is that she yearned for his acceptance. She yearned for his affection. She yearned for his approval. So whatever would make Diddy happy made her happy. So that's why she said she did it once. She said during all these times, she had to take drugs because she felt dirty. Keep in mind, it was like she was getting hit with a Glock dookie, if you know that reference. She was getting pissed on, nutted on. She was getting beat at times. Now, granted, the sex worker did say that Cassie asked for the urine. Cassie supposedly said, have you ever peed on someone? And then the dude said no, and then Cassie did it. Cassie supposedly laid on the ground. He pissed on Cassie in her mouth, and then Diddy followed up and peed on Cassie while she was laying down, to the point where I don't know if she was trying to swallow the urine, but she started to choke. Again, a lot of those details came out yesterday. I'm trying to remember if anything else. She basically said that after her first album, she signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Records. After the first album, her job pretty much became train for freak-offs. It was weekly freak-offs. They didn't miss a week. It happened for years. It became, Diddy stopped having her really make substantial moves in the music industry after her first project and wouldn't really greenlight her music going out. He would just have her do what she calls busy work. Like, you know, he's still paying her, but he ain't having her doing nothing that's further in her career. He would tell her she need to go to train to get ready for the freak-offs. So she was training for the freak-offs. What else? I think we kind of got to a lot of what was said. Let me see what else she was saying. We watched some supporting videos that kind of backed up some of these claims that she's making. She also admits that one time after Diddy abused her, because one of the sex workers that was working with them, he said his dick couldn't get hard anymore after he witnessed the abuse. He didn't feel aroused when he was in that situation, seemingly almost giving an overtone of, okay, we're not just doing some kinky shit. This shit looks like she's getting her ass whipped and I have to fuck her. Like, it doesn't make the dude hard anymore. Diddy would give these sex workers, if they couldn't perform, Cialis. That's a drug that's usually an erectile dysfunction drug to make sure their penis could get hard to do whatever they got to do. After the sex worker supposedly couldn't perform, one time Cassie got beat in the other room. The sex worker was in the other room, overheard it. Now, I don't know if Cassie got beat. And by the way, the words that Diddy said was, when I tell you to come, you come. Now, don't know if that means coming as in the act of having sex, or when I tell you to come over, you better come over at that time. The sex worker also testified that at times when he showed up, it's clear that Diddy had other sex workers in the freak-off, and the freak-off was days long at times, that probably already had sex with Cassie, because when he went to use lubricant or the Astroglide, it was already used and it looked freshly used. So at that point, they realized somebody else was there doing it. And I don't know why they didn't think maybe Diddy was having sex with her, but it seemed like it was uncommon. However, they did admit that at times Diddy would tell homie, yo, watch out, and it's his time to fuck. So Diddy would fuck Cassie at times. But back to that situation where the dude hears the beating. Diddy says, when I tell you to come, you better come, bitch. Diddy walks out and storms out the hotel. Cassie comes out of the room, jumps in the lap of the sex worker, starts making out with them, and says, and starts crying hysterically. He says to her, why do you go through this? Why are you dealing with this? Like, yo, you should leave. And Cassie says, no, it's okay. It's okay. She basically downplays it. Starts making out with the guy, starts having sex with him. The guy who says his penis couldn't get hard before, like minutes or maybe an hour earlier, because number one, he started getting weirded out because Diddy's in the room. That was preventing him from getting hard. And also the abuse and the thought that this was an abusive situation prevented him from getting hard. He said when Cassie then lovingly jumped in his arm and Diddy left and he was making out with Diddy, he was able to get a boner and he was able to fuck her. He said at that point, Diddy somehow realized they were fucking and snuck back in the room to watch. So again, the voyeurism shit was still on display. All right. I think it's safe for us to just kind of go and hear what Cassie has to say. Thank you guys for tolerating me. And by the way, chat, yeah, you got to think about this. I have a live show tomorrow. I'm trying to stream tomorrow twice at the live show and also some Diddy stuff, pause. And you got to realize I'm trying to also, I got to drink water, everything, because I might lose my voice. It's 10 hours of talking yesterday, 10 hours of talking today. Well, I don't know if we're doing 10 hours today, but we'll see. All right, let's go. All right. And if I lose my voice before my show, that's like big L's. I just can't do it, right? So I'm make sure I don't shout too much, no rants. We're going to just keep it by the book. AUSA Johnson says, yesterday you testified about Sean going armed to look for Suge Knight. Ventura says, yes, Sean took guns with him. AUSA says, well, did he, and he told you to ask the escorts if they were cops? Ventura says, yeah, I would begin by saying I was not a cop. AUSA says, Sean told you to do that? He says, yes. Okay, give 1 second. All right. So it says, what happened when you fought back, right? Ventura says, well, I did that more early in the relationship. It would make him more violent, want to push me harder. The defense says, objection to speculation. The judge says, overruled. AUSA says, how would Sean react if you fought back? She then says, anger. AUSA says, I'm going to show you the LA Intercontinental hallway again. By the way, they're going back to this incident. They talked about it before. She says, they said, play from 143 to 146. AUSA says, who enters? Ventura says, Sean. AUSA says, what's in his hand? Ventura says, he doesn't appear to have anything. AUSA says, play to 159. Now, anything in his hand? Ventura says, my phone. AUSA says, how did he get it? Ventura says, well, he took all my stuff. AUSA says, where does he end up? Ventura says, sitting in a chair in front of the window. AUSA says, by the way, the AUSA is a prosecutor if you don't know, okay? AUSA says, what are you doing? Ventura says, I'm walking away from him. AUSA says, or Ventura says, walking away from him. AUSA says, now who's in the video? Ventura says, me and security. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Now who's in the video? Me and security. Me and security. AUSA says, in this one, play from 531. Where did you go from the hotel? Ventura says, to my house. I took an Uber. AUSA says, now let's turn to text messages. Can you read page 4? Ventura says, please call, I'm surrounded. So let me kind of go back and just kind of put this in context. Okay, so after she was with security, they said, and in this one, play from 531. It looked like it's a longer video. We've never seen this full video. And looked like this is clearly from the surveillance tape or someone who had this video, right? We don't know if it was Diddy or the person who sold it that's quote-unquote deleted. But this is 5 minutes and 31 seconds. The video we have of the beating of Cassie never shows the security guard. So that's an abridged version. It says, play this one from 531. Where did you go from the hotel? I guess it shows her leaving the hotel. She says, to my house. I took an Uber. AUSA says, now let's turn to the text messages. Could you read page 4? She says, please call, I'm surrounded. So I guess that's Cassie's text. AUSA says, who sent that? She said, from Sean. Oh, okay, never mind. It said, so Sean said, please call, I'm surrounded. And she's saying, he was running around in a towel. I told him to put a robe on. AUSA says, who sent these green messages? Ventura says, I did. I wrote to Sean. Jules left. By the way, Jules is the porn star, I believe. So that's a sex worker. As long as you're quiet, you can stay. Peace. Who was Jules? An escort. Okay? So look like what they're doing here is having her admit that one of these sex workers, so again, I don't want to be scatterbrained. I want to make sure you guys understand this all. He beats her up. Security intervenes. She supposedly leaves. I think they were trying to get him to leave, right? Regardless, Cassie basically invites him back after the beatdown, right? And that seems to be the thing, right? So Cassie, they're establishing that even after the video we saw in the hotel and they did separate, Cassie invites him back, all right? AUSA shows a picture. Is this Jules? Photo shown, a guy with a big smile. I say, yes. It says, AUSA says B606, 607 side by side. This is Cassie in big sunglasses. It says, that's me, a selfie of me with a fat lip. So she's saying that this was probably a selfie of her with a fat lip right after it happened. She said, when did you take it? In the Uber with one of my phones. AUSA says, what did you write here? She says, I said, please stay away from me. So it looked like she said to Diddy, stay away from me. AUSA says, and what does he say? He says, I'm getting arrested. So it looked like Diddy was trying to tell her, like, yo, Cassie, I'm about to get arrested. Which, you know, again, if we're using, remember I told you, we're going to have to use some common sense here. It looks like maybe they fought a bunch, or let's not assume mutually. Let's say he would beat her ass and she would protect him. So it looked like he's saying, I'm getting arrested, to try to get her to either come back or help him out, right? AUSA says, was he getting arrested? She says, I don't think so. What did you write back? Ventura says, I'm plugging my phone in and going to bed. AUSA says, who was at your home when you got there? Ventura says, Carrie Morgan. She was upset when she saw me. She called the police. Oh, wow. So, this is the first time we found out about this. So police were called. I guess they see Cassie with a fat lip. I don't know if she still had sunglasses, but she probably went in the apartment. She probably took off the glasses. I don't know if she has bruises or a black eye or something like that. By the way, we see a video of her doing an interview the next day, and, you know, makeup's a hell of a thing. So we're not going to say she had no bruises, but whatever. He said, did you speak with them? She says, yes, but I didn't say who I was talking about, and they left. He said, why? I wasn't ready. So it looked like she spoke to the cops. She did not say, by the way, memes, get me this. I need to post on Instagram. That's important. So we now find out, because that is a critique. And I think many of us, you know, men, when we talk about, we said it with DDG. Why are you going to get some shit, keep it in your phone, and 5 months later, or with this would be 9 years later, you didn't call the cops. Now you're ready to go either sue about it or tell the world about it. Why you ain't call the cops? It appears that police were called. But Ventura, Cassie, she just didn't want, she told what happened, but she didn't say who did it. And because she didn't say who did it, it's little they could do. Diddy doesn't get arrested, right? Did Sean try to come to your apartment? Ventura says yes, he was banging. That was pretty normal from him. But this is a pretty private building. Did you hear from Ms. Karan, which is chief of staff of Diddy, that day? Ventura says yes. And I went to see D-Rock and his wife to feel safe. Again, we keep hearing the word D-Rock. D-Rock, if he's a D-Rock and James Cruz, if they are witnesses, it's gonna be crazy. Not only are they gonna hammer home all the abuse, I'm wondering, because some of these people worked in the organization of Diddy, I'm wondering how they could basically fill out this RICO requirement. Because what we're hearing, Diddy beating her, Diddy beating her, Diddy beating her. Yeah, she's in fear, but yeah, Diddy's beating her. It's not necessarily sex trafficking, if you ask me, and that's just my humble opinion. That's domestic violence. We're hearing a lot of domestic violence. She's in fear of him. He's beating her. He's intimidating her. Doesn't seem like sex trafficking, even though I know you guys might say, well, what about the freak-offs? I don't think that's like black and white sex trafficking or at least a racketeering enterprise for sex trafficking, but we don't know what fully the prosecutor has to play, right? Let's wait for the other tweet. AUSA says, in this photo, what were you wearing? She says, a gown and sunglasses. I had a black eye. AUSA says, what if any other bruising was visible? She says, I had several bruising on my leg, but I changed clothes. She says, what is this? Me and Sean at the after party. And I guess they went to an event the day after. right? I think we looked at that. Cassie on the red carpet with bruises. I think Page 6 had published it, saying this was Cassie on the red carpet just 2 days after the attack. Apparently, there's people they were showing bruising that was supposedly on her legs. They felt like there was bruising here. Somebody said it is read the definition. Okay, let's actually play a video because I've seen Boosie say it. I don't know if you've seen what Boosie said. Boosie Twitter, and I know whatever people might be like, "Nigga, it's Boosie, bro. Come on." Boosie says, if anything, this should be a domestic violence case, not a sex trafficking case. She enjoyed the wild sex parties and extravagant gifts on the back end. All of these years of sex parties, and you mean to tell me she didn't enjoy it? I'm convinced she enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure she came during those freak-offs. So he's saying she climaxed. It was a lifestyle. This was consensual. She was his girlfriend, trying to give someone life in prison for this bullshit, okay? Now, let's get to... let me try to find a definition of sex trafficking or racketeering sex trafficking. RICO sex trafficking. Let's see if we need to find a definition. We need to find a definition, Chad. Okay, because that's the thing. Is this human trafficking? Human trafficking and sex trafficking are kind of like slightly similar, isn't it? But you know, sex trafficking is more towards for the use and purpose of sex, while human trafficking could be for the use and purpose of work and other things. Why do they have this? Oh, this is a crazy like thumbnail. There's no way. Okay. I'm trying to get like a definition. Sex trafficking law. Let me see. Sex trafficking law or explained law. Yeah, we just need some explanation of it. There's a California law. We want to look at the federal law on it. You might have to look at that one above. Okay, how did the human trafficking... Okay, let's look at this. Okay.
Human rights in the modern crimes.
But we're not getting anything good there. Hold on. Human trafficking in the law, it's an hour long. We can't watch that. We need a crash course. We need a crash course. All right, let's...
Ghislaine Maxwell's trial was a win for victims of sex trafficking because it really brought their stories out of the shadows into the spotlight. But at the same time, not all sex trafficking and not all trafficking cases look like the situation with Maxwell and Epstein.
Okay, good. Sex trafficking laws in the United States. Let's go.
Human trafficking has really only been paid attention to with...
So I think sex trafficking is a subset of human trafficking. So that's why like we can't find the just only on sex trafficking. We're going to see it about human trafficking.
In the last 25 years or so within the US and kind of around the world. And so the first law that was passed to combat sex trafficking was in 2000, and that was the Victims of Trafficking and Violence Prevention Act. And that is the big piece of legislation that allows the US government to try and fight sex and labor trafficking. The vast majority of victims do not report that they are a victim of trafficking because they may not speak the language of the country that they're in, or they may be too scared to report it, or they may not have resources. So, you know, experts kind of generally agree that it's very, very difficult to really track how much human trafficking there is in the world. And we do have some statistics. So, for example, we have particularly has real who might not have event the social media websites.
I want to get a definition under the law. Here we go.
California has the 7th highest rate of human trafficking in the United States.
A lot of this happened in LA, so we'll use, even though it's a state law or state trafficking laws, let's try to get an understanding. 4 minutes, it's a 4-minute video, then we're getting right back to the testimony. We're trying to understand sex trafficking a little bit more. Because like I keep hearing people saying things like I hear Wax say, he's like, yo, if you fly a girl out or you fuck her, that's like sex trafficking. I'm like, you're telling me fly outs for sex trafficking? I don't think technically under the law that's what it is. So let's see if we can get a broader view of it that we could kind of understand this case. Because again, domestic violence or sex trafficking, maybe there's some overlap too.
In fact, there are about 3.8 trafficking victims in California for every 100,000 civilians. Considering that there are close to 39.54 million people in the state, according to the 2020 census, the estimate translates to over 50 laws against exploitation. Penal Code 236.1 defines human trafficking as depriving someone of their freedom to obtain forced labor or services from them. Depriving someone of their freedom with
depriving someone of their freedom to obtain forced labor or services from them. So, okay. I hear what you guys are saying because I said, well, a lot of this sounds like domestic violence, but it becomes sex trafficking if we then believe the theory that the violence and whatever other control that Diddy have over Cassie was solely to force her to do freak-offs, and she did not want to do freak-offs, right? So that would be, I guess, trafficking, right?
Is from them. Depriving someone of their freedom with the intent of violating California's pimping and pandering laws, child pornography laws, laws against exploitation and blackmail, or other laws concerning sexual activity and sexual exploitation of children, or persuading or attempting to persuade a minor to engage in sexual activity with the intent of violating one of the laws listed above. Hi everyone, I'm Matt from Tactics, and today I'm going to talk about California's human trafficking laws. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below. While you're down there, hit that alert bell icon next to it as well. Employers need to give this training to new and existing employees that could interact with or to complete at least 20 minutes. In 2013, California enacted Senate Bill 1193.
Okay, this is not telling us much.
Requires that the notice also include the option for someone to text a specified number for.
Okay, so it's still a little bit blurry and hazy. All right, man. Okay, cool. So it says in this, and I think we've pulled up this picture. So it looked like she had a black eye. I don't know if we could easily identify it. You know, she probably put a lot of makeup on. But she said she had a black eye, right? So what other bruising was visible? She said, I had bruises on my leg, but I changed clothes. She said, AUSA said, what is this? Me and Sean at an after party. Says, I'm going to show you the escorts. Do you know the name of this person? She says, no. She says, the AUSA says, in what cities did you use him? So it looked like she recognized the face, doesn't know the name. She says, we use this person in New York. They said, who's this? It says, Islander. He was on Latin Men. We used him in LA and maybe in Vegas. So they call this guy Islander. Is Latin Men a website or something like that? Pause. I don't even want to Google it and find some shit. Should I Google it? No, I don't even want to Google it. Okay. Let's keep it going. They showed somebody else, Timothy. By the way, I hope you guys are understanding that. I guess this is part of proving the RICO. If for the AUSA, they're showing how much niggas that Cassie was forced to fuck. So they've named, and early on in her trial, in her testimony yesterday, they named like 4 or 5 dudes, right? Now they're naming another 4 or 5 dudes. So we're getting to realize it's dozens, right? Ventura says, we called him Tommy. They said, who's this? I know him as Greg. He's from Miami. Who's this? Jonathan. We saw him in Miami. I guess they wasn't turning up another notch. Holy. AUSA says, who's this? Red cap backwards. He said, I don't know, but he looks familiar from the freak-offs. Okay, so they're now hammering it home that Diddy had probably a system of hiring these guys, also using these guys in multiple locations, right? Part of trafficking is moving around, and especially when it comes to federal sex trafficking guidelines, this I do know, is crossing state lines. So it's clear that these people are going from state to state to state, and that is going to have some type of, and say, oh, Jonathan, ooh, chat, Jonathan Odie. So who is this? This is Jonathan. We saw him in Miami. Wow. Remember, chat? Jonathan Odie. By the way, chat, Jonathan Odie reached out to us or a some affiliate of theirs, and they claim they were down to speak with us. He's locked up, I believe, though, but this conduit was going to try to put it together. I got to figure out what happened with that. So this guy was right. Jonathan, I got to believe the guy's name is Jonathan Odie. Cassie confirms. Jonathan, Miami. By the way, Trump Doral, it's in Miami. It's Trump National Doral Miami Hotel.
Of animals, blood sacrifices, and everything came and threatened me at my house. Post-settlement, after we settled, Diddy sent Ross, and I asked him to go see if that was Ross, and he confirmed his identity.
So Gonzalez, he can back up what you're saying about...
Yeah, going crazy with that. It's not that he's lying. Don't get screened by
customs?
By
Okay.
Listen to this.
Inside the United States, okay? They move what's called high grade and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes, and I came...
That was interesting to me.
And I was like a sex slave, okay? For TV, because what I see, I had like Sean, I had sex with Cassie and Sean.
This guy's incarcerated. Now, they could compel him to testify, even though he signed an NDA and got $5 million. They could compel him to testify, and they know exactly where he's at because he's locked up. However, not only could they compel him to testify, I wonder if they use this interrogation footage. Now, granted, usually they lean towards bring the person in rather than use the footage. So I think they will just bring him in from the jail or the prison, wherever he's at, rather than have them having to use this footage as some type of evidence. Because, of course, a defense attorney could say, this guy was probably high off drugs. That's why he did that dumb shit. He was probably high talking to these people. He was just saying all type of shit. But looks like Cassie is co-signing that this guy was legit.
Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of...
Wow, 15 encounters. Let's go back again. I'm sorry.
Under secrecy. I take Sean the threat of death on me, okay? I don't have it, but I can make it available under secrecy. That means that I wouldn't be liable because I don't want to be getting framed for anything, okay? Right. I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and
by the way, it definitely matches Cassie's account. It matches exactly what Cassie said.
I heard a lot.
And according to him, he did it 15 times. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I think it is gonna weigh on the jury members just how often these freak offs were. Remember, I told you, like, Diddy basically said, "Fuck everything else you're doing. You're just gonna practice for freak offs. That's your new job." By the way, after the day after the Intercontinental thing, she had a movie premiere or something like that. So, people always looked at her as a pretty girl. Maybe looked at her career didn't go too far. Some people didn't think she was the most talented. But, like, look at someone like, what's Chris Brown's ex? What's that girl named Karuche? Karuche's on like a TV show. We could have seen Cassie going that route. Like, she had a high enough profile and probably was decent enough. She could fit in somewhere. It looked like Diddy didn't really want her to get really popping. Diddy wanted her to be a sex, and this is going to be a thing, sex slave. And again, if we look at it like that in terms of a sex slave, then we start thinking about sex trafficking. Then we do. I'm going to be honest. If we look at it to say Diddy purposely was trying to kill her career, just used everything over her head to control her. And like, they named about a dozen dudes, a dozen prostitutes. And this one prostitute said he had 15 encounters with Cassie. 15 encounters. So if every dude had at least 10 encounters, and obviously not every dude did, and we think it's several dozens of dudes, let's say it was weekly. There's only 52 weeks in a month. No, sorry, I'm tripping. In a year. 52 weeks in a year. He fucked her in 15 encounters. Another escort has at least 5 or whatever. Supposedly these dozens of these guys, it kind of goes to drill home the point. Around every 5 days or so, I would imagine Cassie was involved in a freak-off. The enormity of that amount might lead a juror to say, nah, this is more than just freaky couple shit. This is a job. The job is sex. The job is freak-offs. And the consistent person is Cassie. She's a worker. I think out of sensitivity, the prosecutors aren't going there with it yet, but they're kind of saying, you know, Cassie, we know you, with all due respect to you, you never considered yourself like a sex worker, but he treated you like one. You were his personal sex worker.
Business, because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay?
Now, this is also important. And remember, you know, we also heard that Diddy would give instructions sometimes through the phone. And you're like, well, I thought he's in the same room. Sometimes it looked like he might have been in another. I don't know if maybe sometimes it was on some ASMR type shit where he only wanted to listen, or maybe he had, you know, they also mentioned that sometimes he set up cameras and he would watch from a different room. And maybe he wanted to watch from a different room. Maybe the guys couldn't perform when he was in a room. Or maybe he wanted to do some other freaky shit that maybe he didn't want the guys to see. It's very clear he was comfortable with Cassie knowing or seeing that he would rub semen on his nipples, but he didn't want the sex workers to know that. So Diddy was doing some things under the shadows that clearly were meant to be hidden from the sex workers. Let's go back again and hear what he says.
What they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all. All right.
Oh, maybe I misunderstood that. Looked like they have a suite. He's waiting out in the living room to fuck, and he would overhear Diddy saying shit in the room because he's talking on the phone and maybe on conference calls. 2006 and shit like that. Maybe he has a laptop. You know, he clearly had some electronic devices. Maybe he's on Skype. Was Skype around then? Skype, Uvo, whatever people could use to like maybe video call or, you know, whatever. So it looked like he says he was just sitting out there like we've heard from other sex workers. After they fucked or before they fucked, they would just be sitting in the living room while Cassie and Diddy's in the room, and they're just there sitting. They're sitting. And then Diddy will either send Cassie in or come in with Cassie and then instruct him. However, this guy is, you know, basically he just shot up like a spot. So he's telling, yo, I know some info through Diddy. And he's telling how he got it. He's saying Diddy's in the other room on the phone. So it looked like this freak off shit was so nonchalant. Diddy was probably having board meetings and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, yo, bad board meetings while the prostitute is warming up in the, or the sex worker is warming up in the other room, ready to slang some cock. You get what I'm saying? So this dude say overheard a lot.
Right. I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. Bro.
So he said, and now this is interesting. He said caught herpes, and I guess he's blaming Cassie and Diddy, or blaming that encounter, right? And he's saying he sued and won. Now, here's the thing. If he sued, we would have seen a case. Now, maybe this case is under seal somewhere. I'm going to do some digging on this. I'm going to do some digging on any case with him. Chat, I don't know if some of y'all know how to navigate the legal stuff. We got to figure out, did this guy ever have a civil case? And he said won, but I think he means settled, because I think he means they just paid him.
I caught herpes,
and
I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. But they did Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? and Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible I threw everything.
So he said he had video recordings. Ooh, that's interesting. Why was Diddy allowing these guys to have video recordings? That's interesting if that's true, right? By the way, I'm looking up Jonathan Odie. I got some cases here. Yeah, I got some cases here. Hold on. Okay, I see his marriage. By the way, if you don't know why this guy started being a prostitute and ended up with Cassie and Diddy, he was going through a divorce. While going through a divorce, he starts doing this. By the way, after I guess he contracts herpes or whatever, and also before the payout, he finalizes his divorce. He finalizes his divorce before the payout, which I now know the date. The date of the filing, the date of the filing of the divorce is 7/14, which is what was that, July 14th, 2014. So he must have got this money back in he must have got this money after 2014. Okay, let me see. When was the case closed? I know the filing day. I don't know when it was closed. All right. So it's a dissolution of marriage. I got to find another case afterwards. Now, here's the thing. He might have filed or threatened to sue Diddy and appeared as John Doe, which would be so difficult to find it because you could sue in civil court as John Doe. And maybe that's when Garagos took over the case because Garagos was representing Diddy, and then they probably settled with him, right? Because I'm pretty sure, let me search Diddy's name. I don't think, they probably never filed. It probably was, they probably served a intent to file, and Diddy said, fuck it, take the bread. Let me see, Sean Combs. I'm trying to see if I can find anything. Diddy, of course, lived in Miami too. All right, there's a lot of things against Diddy. Can't see anything that is popping up. Sean Combs. You know what? Let me Cassie Ventura. By the way, chat, remember in Usher's herpes case? Remember there was a guy who sued? And I was like, what the fuck? Why is a guy suing? Maybe these guys, again, not saying Usher fucks dudes, right? But do we now understand how this shit might be going down? Because when I hear a man catches herpes from another man, I'm like, oh, you're fucking the other man. But now we're seeing that, oh, they're all having unprotected sex. Diddy might have had something. I don't know, by the way, allegedly. I want to cross my T's, dot my I's. Maybe Cassie catches it. The dude catches it through Cassie. The dude was pretty much employed through a surrogate Cassie, but he knows it's Diddy's bread and it's Diddy's show. So he sues Diddy. You get what I'm saying? But they catch diseases in free coughs. I'm searching Cassandra Ventura. By the way, I know there's probably extra tweets. I'm just doing some Cassandra Ventura. I'm searching her name in Miami court to try to see if I can find any lawsuits with her name in it. I don't see anything. Yes, I don't know if he actually sued. Let me play this a little bit more.
That, which was the video recording, and I did.
So he had a video recording. Here we go.
Were his attorneys, okay, for the reason won, but they did. Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay, and Christopher Neon's here was my attorney. They asked me.
Christopher Neon. Remind me of that name, chat. So his attorney now for this case was his attorney for then.
To turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally.
He said, I guess it was part of the settlement. He turns in a videotape to them. I don't know how he had the videotape, because why would you let a sex worker have it? But they accidentally gave it back to him. What?
And it's possible, I threw everything out. It's possible I can produce a copy.
Gotcha.
It's possible.
So he's saying he might have a copy of it.
I'm not sure. Now, how does this lead towards Donald Trump?
Okay.
The Mercedes family, Ben Mercedes.
So he goes into a whole conspiracy theory about the lawyers working for Diddy at the time. Keep in mind, Garagos, who he's talking about at the time, Mark Garagos, is the father of Diddy's current lawyer, Tenny Garagos. By the way, Mark Garagos also seems pretty adjacent to this case, like he's still working for Diddy. So, this guy, he sounded super crazy, like, there's this big conspiracy, da-da-da-da-da. He sounded crazy at the time. I mean, obviously, I still think he sounds crazy because Tupac is dead, okay? And he said Tupac's alive in Cuba. That's a lie. But he did mention some stuff about Khaled and Ross. We'll figure it out later. But okay, let's keep it going, Chad. Keep it going. Holy. AUSA says, what did you write here? She says, this is all we do. I'm just getting back on track. I'm sure you could call Kim or something. Oh, so look like she at a point expressed to Diddy that she was fed up with the same cycle of freak-offs. And she's just saying, is this all we do? She's like, I'm just trying to get back on track. Like, I'm sure you could call Kim. So look like she's throwing a little shade there because she's like, I know you fuck Kim Porter still, which, by the way, we got to see what time period this is. When did Kim Porter die, and how long was that overlapping period where Diddy may have been dealing with both of them? Because Cassie seems to be saying, why don't you go do this shit with Kim Porter? He says, AUSA says, what do you mean this is all we do? She says freak-offs. AUSA says, did you try to avoid anything in the freak-offs? Ventura said, I tried to avoid kissing. It seemed too intimate, but Sean told me to do it, to kiss the escorts. AUSA says, what did Sean ask you to do on your 29th birthday? She says a freak-off. Oh, my God. When did Cassie turn 29? When did Cassie turn 29? Keep in mind, this is 2015. And by the way, this is still a year before the beatdown. So I think we could almost. So Cassie turned 29. Basically, she admitted that the freak-off started when she was 22. So this is 7 years of freak-offs. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, chat. 7 years of freak-offs. Diddy's team got to show some shit that she was down with it. Like really show some shit, or they got to get to the video. I don't know what it is, but 7 years. Remember, she started at 22. In 2015, she's 29. In 2016, when the LA Intercontinental thing happened, which that supposedly was a freak-off too, she's 30. 8 years of weekly freak-offs with all types of men. I'm telling you, that large amount of years and amount of dudes is going to make a significant impact on the jurors, even if you want to think, okay, this is just domestic violence. 8 years of freak-offs is crazy. Wow. What does Sean ask you to do on your 29th birthday? A freak-off. Ventura says he had me pull out of the Blind Dragon. Oh, my God. Yeah, this is crazy. Blind Dragon Cassie. Let me see. Cassandra. I don't know what Blind Dragon is. Look, is it a show or something? Pulls out. Yeah, I don't know. By the way, this was an open letter from her friend, Tiffany Red. We'll put that on the side for now. We'll get to it when we can. Now, this is going to go towards sex trafficking, Chad. So, if she then basically proves this guy had so much control of me, any opportunity or any situation that I could have had, he would cancel it just to have a freak off. That might be going towards some of this sex slave freak off shit. I'm going to be honest with y'all, chat. I'm going to be honest with you. So the government right now is doing a better job today. And I guess yesterday was all about just what's the physical violence. Today's about the power, the control, her lack of control, her expressing, hey, is this all we're going to do? Her being scared, and showing the enormity of the thing for maybe a decade of freak-offs, weekly, all these men. That could establish the fact that, yeah, we could call her a girlfriend that was freaky, but in reality, she was just a sex worker that was scared. He says, he had me pull out a blind dragon for the freak-off, some security. AUSA says, what about blackmail material? Ventura says, he wanted me to fear. And the defense says, objection. The judge says, overruled. So they wanted the person to answer that. It says, when you mention the freak-off videos, when would Sean mention the freak-off video? So they asked in a different way. And it says, to hurt me. So apparently, Diddy would use videos of the freak-offs as blackmail. Now, that's going to be counterintuitive to Diddy's defense to say she was willing. She wanted to do this. Because if she was such a willing participant and she liked doing this, including all the aspects of doing it, why would you then be able to threaten her with the idea of her having done it? Now, obviously, Diddy's defense team is going to try to, they're going to try to split hairs here and say, no, women sometimes have all types of weird kinks that they don't want people to know about. Yeah, that's not necessarily he's threatening her to force her to do it, or that means she didn't want to do it. That just shows she just didn't want the videos to be shown. And he never leaked no videos, so even if that was a threat, it's a blind threat, or it was just like a threat that didn't materialize, right? So Ventura says, one time I was dating someone else and he threatened to release the freak-off videos. I'd have to answer to my mother. It's horrible and disgusting. No one should try to do that to anyone. AUSA says, what does Sean say the impact would be? Ventura says, shame. AUSA says, let me show you a chat. Who's on it? Ventura says, me and Sean. This is July 2nd or July 22nd, 2013. AUSA says, could you read your message? She says, I wrote, please delete the videos off your phone. Too many people have access to your devices. He said, no iCloud. All good. Ambien kicking in. AUSA says, sidebar. The judge says yes. Okay. So they're having a sidebar for a little bit. It's not a break, it's a sidebar. It should return in a second. Going back, by the way, if anyone knows what Blind Dragon is, please just give me some guidance on what that is. Okay? Give me 1 second. Wait, Blind Dragon is a what? Komodo's what? Chat, what is Blind Dragon? Can somebody help me? The full hotel beatdown is on TMZ. Oh, so now we figure out they probably did get the whole thing. Oh, the Department of Justice dropped it. Oh, fuck. See, TMZ always put the source here. It says, we're now seeing the full 50-minute unedited video. The video was released Tuesday night. Oh, I guess it was released Tuesday night. Damn. It must have been released. Oh, wow. All right, cool. Let's just get into it, chat. Wow. Let me make this bigger. Sorry. There's no audio, unfortunately. She's walking out. She's barefooted, has her purse and another bag. She goes to take out, I believe, her phone, and at that point, yeah. Oh, no, she's putting on shoes. Okay, I want to make sure you guys can see this properly. She's pressing the elevator, so it looked like she tiptoed out of the room. Because sometimes putting on shoes is like, I'll do this at the elevator. So she looked like she's trying to get out of there in a hurry. She's waiting for the thing now. Diddy comes running around. Diddy sees her. He doesn't see. Bang, grabs her, slams her to the ground. Kick. Grabs her bag, grabs her purse, stomps on her. He then gives her a vicious, he's dragging her. Wow. Dragging her like, this is a really, okay. Now, the Department of Justice dropped this video after, remember, there was a protective order, so they couldn't drop the full video until it's going to be shown in court. They knew it was going to be shown in court, and they dropped it while it's actually being shown in court right now. So, remember, they were saying skip to this, skip to that? So, this is what Cassie was watching and describing. So, it looked like she kind of gets back up. Oh, she grabs the phone on the wall. Looked like she's trying to call somebody. Diddy comes back around. Oh my God, this nigga, look at the way Diddy looks at her. The way Diddy just stopped right there is crazy. Like it's like he's like he took a deep breath, like he was about to charge at her like a fucking.
So the Diddy and Cassie situation has been getting freakier and freakier by the day. The more and more I hear about these allegations, Diddy is a freaky man, the king of the freak-offs. And Cassie, you feel me? She was young, vulnerable. But like what Ak said, she could have left. Like, Diddy was not holding her. Well, this is what's hard for me. Allegedly, Diddy wasn't holding her hostage, but she said on the video that came out in the hotel where he hit her over and drug her back, she was trying to leave one of the freak-offs. And Diddy said, oh no, you're not going to leave the freak-offs. You got it. Yeah. Wait till the dude, bust a nut, allegedly. Then all over you, then scrape it off, go in the other room and rub it on my nipples. That's what he wanted. It sounds so crazy to say, but that's what Diddy wanted. Like, we seen him in the robe. I thought he was just fresh out the shower, but allegedly he was probably butt naked. I'm surprised there was no baby oil on her or him, or she wiped it off. That's why he was so mad it was no baby oil on. Hey man, I genuinely feel bad for Cassie. I feel bad for her husband too, because he has to be in court and he's listening to all these things. And I don't really think Cassie's lying about anything. Like, Cassie just seems like a nice girl, probably like gentle, innocent, like, and she just wanted a career. Like, man, I'm struggling here because I want to be very, very honest about everything, like my point of view. I don't think Diddy was the best of best people, and I think everything he did to Cassie was wrong, and it was definitely manipulative and all that stuff. But like, is it sex trafficking though? Like, this is what he's charged for. Like, domestic violence, yes. Assault, yes. Like, probably a bunch of other crazy stuff, yes. But sex trafficking, bro, I don't know if you could say he was sex trafficking. But it's only day 2 of the trial. And I'm gonna be very, very unbiased about every single thing I say. It's day 2 of the trial. Diddy is he's there every day. They say that he's looking white as hell, he's gray as hell. He's, you feel me? They said he was looking at Cassie the whole time. But day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe 2 weeks later, there might be someone else taking the stand, and we don't know how that's gonna go. Maybe like 3 days later, there's gonna be a new person taking the stand, and they just expose everything about Diddy. Like, we don't know fully everything Diddy's done yet. Like, there might have been men that he was having free calls with. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, Ak was the line about what he said. Diddy should just came out and said that he was a flexible, bro. He should just said he was bisexual, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And what Ak said, bro, all these rappers gotta come out who was around Diddy, like really, really hung around Diddy and was like really cool with him. They need to come out and like, yeah, bro. You gotta defend yourself, your integrity. You feel me? But your boy Big Ak News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And do you feel like Diddy's innocent, or do you feel like he's guilty? And we're talking about sex trafficking. Like, we're not talking about is he a good person or not. Do you think he's guilty of sex trafficking, Cassie? It's your boy Big Ak News, and I'm out.